Welcome to Gab and Jam, episode 170.
And what are we talking about today?
Today's topic was inspired by Creative Pep Talk, episode 312. But we see our mission as kind of helping ourselves and others stay tuned into their creative, identity. So our topic today is 4 ways to find your creative identity. It's for people who are either starting out or again, like us, where we're constantly calibrating. Trying to make sure that we are on the right path to lead us to our passion and our purpose.
And, to be honest with you, I think you probably will be in a state of constantly calibrating.
Yeah, that's one of our points.
Kind of like constant evolution.
Yes.
All right. So as we start thinking about in terms of that, finding what the quintessential you, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that you kind of look to find.
Right.
So,
like, what do you? Right. What do you want to create? What do you want to bring into the world? Bring into the world.
Yeah. And I think sometimes. This is going to be really probably a trip. It's like, I think the more talented you are, sometimes that may make the struggle even, more intense for you.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
So meaning that if you're a person and you really can sing, and especially if you can sing like certain individuals.
Right. That you're able to shape your expression to sound like another artist.
Like maybe you sound like Whitney Houston, or you sound like, whoever might be the singer of the day, that you're able to kind of come off and people say, oh, wow, you sound so good when you sing and all the rest of that kind of, you can kind of get kind of stuck in that mode.
Yeah.
And maybe, and that's always a good place to start.
Right.
But I think the hard part for you may be pushing yourself beyond that, because as you start to push yourself more into who you are, the less you might hear applause.
Okay.
So meaning that it's always easy to go out and do a cover song.
Yes.
And people sing along with it, and they automatically grab a hold of it. But, it's hard to say that they necessarily are being entertained by you. As much as they're being entertained by the fact that you're playing the song.
And it takes them back in their own head, so they actually help you out.
Right. It kind of becomes like a group karaoke.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's always the case. Yeah. But again, that's I think if you're doing covers, that's something that you don't know where the appreciation for the song begins and you
where the line is. You know what I mean? Okay, so you actually already started down our path of the 4 ways to find your creative identity.
Right.
The first way is that, of course, you rent your identity, is what the Andy J Pizza guy said on his thing. And what we mean, we had the episode 164, should I copy someone's style? Right. So I think that is kind of when you're born and you're raised into a family, you adopt their ways. So that's an easy way. Or like you said, when you first get started maybe playing music, you learn someone else's songs and you become, hey, I'm the best interpretation of that for me right now. Right. And this is who I am right now.
Right, yeah. And it's weird because I've never quite had that issue, so it's probably been the other. So, meaning that I don't think I could ever stop injecting myself into stuff. And that's because I wrote songs before I could ever play a song.
Right.
And so that meant every time that I did something was always like an interpretation of me doing it.
Right.
So in the one way, it was good because I was able to find myself, but in the bad way, it was like, well, you never got the applause to begin with. You know?
But that's what kept you on the path. That's probably one of the things.
But at the same token, it might be the thing that, you know, takes you towards the path of nowhere. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so and actually, the more things feel good to you, the more you might try on, is what you're saying.
Right.
So keep trying on things until you start finding what you are steering away from and what you're steering to, because that's going to lead you in the direction. That's kind of what you were talking about. You start out with doing somebody else's covers or whatever, and then after a while, you're like, hey, but I would like to hear it go here, and then that, or even and we'll talk about that too, the overlapping.
Well, but I think kind of part of the things that tears you away from, I guess, your early influences is to expose yourself to other things.
What do you mean?
I mean, so, if you're a person that you listen to rap all the time, listen to rock. If you listen to rap all the time, listen to something else. If you're listening to rock all the time, listen to rap, listen to R&B, because a lot of times, especially if you're older people, a lot of times you'll kind of just dismiss all the songs that are out today,
right?
And I think it's a good idea to listen to what's out today. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good idea to you just explore.
Yeah.
Don't ever lose, I guess, that spirit of exploration.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the simple fact that that's another thing that can kind of give you that little twist that maybe your music needs.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so number 2, the second way that you can help find your creative identity, according to the Creative Pep Talk thing, they say associate yourself with something that you love, and you'll move into that direction and get more opportunities. He says write 3 I am statements to start with. And they may change as you go, but I am. And so when we did this, for me, I'm a musical artist, and then I'm aware that I'm Black, but I do not dwell on it because it is a cornerstone of who we are. And then I'm constantly searching for new ways to express my artistic vision. So those are my 3 overlappings. And I think that is kind of the cornerstone when I approach anything right now.
Right.
But that may change. The more I learn, the more I grow.
Right.
The more that may change. But that at least helps give me a focus temporarily.
Yeah, I think that, too, you do almost have to be selfish in this sense that you have to be driven by something internally and then allow the external to receive it. So, because sometimes we can be driven by, external, factions that are, kind of say, hey, this is where you need to go.
Right.
Or maybe you just feel like, hey, this is what's popular now, or this is, kind of thing we need to talk about right now. Or, just saying, if you are a Black artist and you feel like, hey, I need to be talking about this George Floyd thing.
Yeah.
And if that's where you are,
right,
then go there.
Yeah.
But, if you're doing it out of an obligation to do it, because I think that was the thing with this COVID.
Yeah.
The thing. So as we were going through the pandemic, people were trying to figure out, well, what is the proper tone,
right,
to take towards it? Should you be more somber, or should you take more of a dance, or time for the party type of thing? So should you be more aspirational as opposed to that? And I think from an artistic point of view, that's up to you,
right? Yeah.
And you shouldn't necessarily let external forces tell you where you need to go.
Right. Yeah.
So,
you kind of have to follow that gut inside you. Because again, this is you.
Yeah.
This is all about you. This is you finding you. And again, that's a constant quest. But all right, so the third way that, according to the Creative Pep Talk show, that he says that you can find your creative identity, I think he expressed it a different way, but find yourself, is to own your contradictions. So we talked about the overlapping of weird things on top of each other. But he talks about the fact that stories have contradictions. It's always the hero, but he's got this flaw. It's, it's a hero, but there's this tragedy that's coming, this crisis or whatever. And then he also gives the example of the Mormon pothead. So you think a person that's Mormon, that they wouldn't be using pot, and you think of a person that's pothead that wouldn't be religious.
Right.
And he was saying that, but that's what makes it intriguing.
Right.
That's what makes us say, oh, let me hear more. Whereas if they just come to you saying, I'm Mormon, or just come to you saying, I'm a pothead, then it's like, okay, and...
Right.
You know, we've heard that story before.
Right.
But if you come with some weird contradictions, his whole thing is, if you own that, then that actually, it repels the people who are not interested, but it also brings the people closer and gives voice to the people who say, hey, that sounds interesting, and you know, you may end up being the leader for the Mormon potheads after a while. But
right. I mean, maybe a rapper who, you know, you rap over beats that are driven just by an acoustic guitar. Somebody beating on an acoustic guitar and just playing an acoustic guitar. That's the way you do it. That's the way you spit over that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so maybe that's your thing.
Right.
You know, or
that
who knows?
That would be interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, you know, that might float your boat.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to do this,
mm-hmm.
you know, in spite of the fact that maybe you haven't seen anybody else
do it. Right. You be the one that leads that charge.
And it's kind of weird. It's almost like at one time, I don't know if we always had, if artists were as market aware as they are today. You know, so I think, you know, and it's because of the instantaneous nature of social media and going viral.
Yeah.
You know, going viral has, I think, probably put a lot of the artistic community more in that lottery mode. So meaning that now you're thinking about doing that work that's going to be that ticket that goes viral.
TikTok.
That's right. It becomes that lottery ticket. And so now you're fishing for how do I get that lottery ticket? You know, I mean, if it's me, you know, if you see somebody like the video with the ocean spray and the skateboarder on Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, you start saying, well, maybe if I do a popular song with me driving out the car, hanging out, with my guitar playing it, maybe that'll do it. You know, I mean, so in a way, this thing is what we're kind of talking about is kind of diametrically opposed to that.
Well, but in some ways it is not, because it is precisely that weird overlapping that I'm talking about originally. That idea is probably what made...
No, but what I'm trying to say is this, is that I'm not saying that's not something that could happen. Mm-hmm. But all I'm trying to say is that if you are just trying to think of what's going to go viral, and all you're trying to figure out is what can I do to go viral, that I think you're not necessarily looking for your artistic self.
Oh no.
That's all I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm saying, is that actually you finding your artistic self, you may end up fact that the guy, that was an unusual pairing. Because it was an overlapping that was unusual. And
I get that part of it.
What made it.
But what I'm saying is that some people, that is the reason. You know, it's one thing if I show up to the store and somebody gives me a lottery ticket, and that just so happens to be the lottery ticket that I win. It's a whole different thing where I'm like, okay, I'll pick these numbers. I know these numbers are going to do it, and that's what I'm going there to do. And I'm saying that's a whole different mindset. And I'm saying that's the same thing. It's like, if coincidentally that happens, more power to you. But, you know, when you kind of go seeking that, then you may not be seeking who you are, you know, creatively and artistically as much as you're just seeking to get that attention.
And I was just saying that you might stumble upon it quicker by being yourself than by
that much is true. But all I'm trying to say is that it depends on how you're doing it. If you're doing it with that mindset, then I don't know if you're looking for that. So
it might be two different things.
Right.
Let's talk about the final thing is our caution, but it's another way to find your creative identity, is to make sure that you respect the identity you are trying on. And I know we've talked about this before, but when 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I don't remember how long ago, we tried to do rap, you know, as a project, as, hey, we're going to do a rap album. Mm-hmm. And especially at that time, that was not, we weren't feeling it. We weren't feeling that was like the best expression that we could do. And that wasn't even what was on our turntable at the time. That wasn't even what we were actively listening to. I mean, we did have NWA. That we like, we had a few that were like, hey, we really like that, or there was Tupac or whatever, but we weren't really feeling, I guess, the rap.
Right.
And so it turned into something that we weren't proud of. Yeah, we finished it. Yeah, but it just never was, I guess, our identity.
Right. I mean, it's sort of like, that goes back to the point of just doing something because of the simple fact you think it's going to go viral.
Yeah.
Because that was the same reason why we did that.
Yeah.
We did that because this is what's popular at the time.
Right.
This is what they say you need to do.
Right.
So this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so when you kind of take that on thinking, okay, this is what I need to do. But, we didn't have the proper reverence and respect for rap and just the influence of rap, you know, to actually craft together a project like that and to produce something that, even we would like, get alone, those people who actually consume rap would actually like.
Yeah. So hopefully those 4 ways will help you either find your creative identity or calibrate. We like to recalibrate from time to time because you can get pulled all different ways from outside pressures. As we talked about, how do you guys keep yourself calibrated and stay on the path to your passion and your purpose with your creativity? We would really like to know, what ways do you suggest? Drop it in the comments below. And
as usual, we're always still doing Sugar Fit. It's out there. You can pick it up at CD if you need the CD. You can get that through CD Baby. You can get that through, where else can you get the CD?
You can get it through Bandcamp.
Okay.
So Prejippie.bandcamp.com. Of course, there are links in the description below.
And streaming everywhere. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Tidal, Deezer, wherever.
Yep.
You can always do that. Or you can also go to the Bandcamp page.
Yes.
And do the same thing.
Yes.
So you can.
And then also, we have an opportunity for you guys to contribute to the vinyl, to pressing a 2-disc set. There are some people who are interested in that. So that's a Patreon link that's below. And if you dig the vibe, be sure to
subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
peace.